Good morning, the ExJW community. Thank you so much for joining me for another long overdue edition. Today I'm doing something a little different. I'm actually outside in my beautiful backyard. Got my little Cinderella candle going from the organic store. Had a little friendly cat out here. He decided to bounce. But I've been wanting to do a video for a while. I've just been extremely busy with work and life and had a few certifications I had to knock out and get updated. So, as many of you know, if this is your first time on my videos, um, I am a third generation ex-Jehovah Witness, and I've been out of this cult for about 25 years. And the reason why I can't show my face is simply because I have a very high profile position, but that doesn't stop me from sharing. Um, a few other things I just wanted to mention. I just can't believe how beautiful it is out here. Hopefully the bugs will leave me alone and I get you guys a good view of the sky and the grass and just enjoying the summer day. Um, a few updates I wanted to share since my last video. My cousin came down for a visit and gave me some intel about what's been going on since I started doing these videos. Apparently, my aunt found my videos and shared them with another aunt of mine. So thank you, Auntie, for listening to my videos. I'm not really sure on your perspective, but my cousin wanted to give you that update. So, hey, thank you so much for listening. Another update that I got from my cousin is that my aunts were unhappy that I actually shared information about my grandfather being a pedophile and sexually abusing my aunts. They wanted that to remain a secret. And my cousin and I talked a long time, and it was really great to see her. And it was really interesting how things have changed in life and how things have come full circle. And that is really what prompted me to do this video today. So my video today is entitled The Jacksons, the Jehovah Witnesses, and the Cult of Dysfunction. As many of you know, about 2 weeks ago, the patriarch of the Jackson family passed away. And I don't know if many of you know this or most people know, but there is also the Jehovah Witness element that has been a part of the Jackson family. I'm not 100% sure how many of the Jacksons are still Jehovah Witnesses. I know Catherine Jackson, the matriarch, is a Jehovah Witness. I know Rabbi Jackson is a Jehovah Witness. And it's really interesting how all of this has intersected in my life. I'm not related to the Jacksons. However, a lot of the information that has come out about that family resonated with me. Another reason I did this video is that one of Michael Jackson's sons did a YouTube video where he was very unhappy with the fact that people were attacking his grandfather. He made some very disparaging comments to people that were texting him and putting things on social media. And while I don't condone that, I do think that this is an important topic to talk about because the abuse that went on in the Jackson family, I'm not sure how much of it the grandchildren actually know about. And like I said, I am not related to the Jacksons. However, I'm an African American woman. I've been in this cult for 17 years of my life. a lot of my family, a lot of people that I grew up with were also a part of this cult, so I know them through other people. I know about them through other people that went to their congregations, that went to the Kingdom Hall with them. And as I've mentioned in other videos, the African American community in the United States and the XJ and the Jehovah Witness enclave is very, very small. Most people know each other, especially if you've been in there for generations. So uh, I don't want to divulge how I know some of this information, and I'm only going to talk about factual things and try and tie it together about why we still need to have this conversation about the dysfunction that is allowed to exist because of the policies in this organization. So, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, I didn't find out about my grandfather until he actually passed away. I had inklings, I had clues, but my grandfather was a presiding overseer until he retired from it because he got too old. But when he passed away, 400 people came to his funeral. All of my aunts and uncles were there praising him. So for me to find out probably 3 to 6 months after he passed away that the grandfather that I knew and all of the things that my parents and grandparents had been telling me were actually false was shocking. But the reason why they didn't tell me, the reason why they allowed me to live under a different idea is because of the way that the policies are in this organization. This organization allows people to abuse their family members and allows them to be sexually abused, and they don't validate it unless there are two witnesses. So how does that relate to the Jackson family? Well, we do know for a fact that Michael Jackson has given many interviews over the years where he has talked about how his father has abused him. That's a fact. There's also the fact that Rebby Jackson has talked about how her father strongly disciplined them and sometimes crossed the line. Now, I don't know how valid LaToya Jackson's claims are. A lot of it she's recanted on, but I will mention that she did publish a book where she said that her father was abusive physically and sexually. A lot of the Jackson family has come back and said she was under the influence of her, husband at the time, and she's actually reconciled with her family. So again, I don't know how true any of that is. However, the fact that two other family members discussed how abusive Joseph was when they were growing up, no one forced them to do that. Nobody told them to make it up. Michael Jackson sat down with Oprah Winfrey. He sat down. I forget the name of the Indian producer, and it's on tape. The other thing is that I actually have Katherine Jackson's book. I bought it when it first came out. It was an interesting book, and I read it because Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, reading about their family was interesting. So I am under the impression that for her to allow her name to be attached to this book, she had to approve everything that was in it. I've never heard her say, please don't buy this book. I retract things that I wrote in this book. So in the book that Katherine Jackson wrote, she admits that there were times that her husband beat the children too long and he was over the top. You don't believe me? Get the book. I have it, and I'm sitting outside on a summer day, and as most people know how my method of communicating is really conversational, and it's philosophical, and it's really about people just thinking about how we can recover from the things that we've had to deal with being indoctrinated by this cult. And I will use present day examples, entertainers, famous people, not famous people, because whatever gets people to think about what is going on, why are people in the ExJW community doing YouTube videos, why are they out talking about the things that they've actually gone through, there's a reason for that. My reason for doing it, my reason for bringing up the Jackson family is not to disparage them. We have a lot of things in common. I've heard things over the years from people that actually went to the same congregation as them, about some of the things that went on. We do know that Joseph Jackson actually had a child outside of the marriage. And we also know that Katherine Jackson never divorced him. She did file for divorce a few times, but from my understanding, they were still married. And that begs the question of the cult of dysfunction, the other part of this video. What you can't deny is that there's a lot of dysfunction in the Jackson family. There's a lot of discord that goes on. I don't know how Joseph reconciled what he did when he was growing up, when the children were growing up with him, but it reminds me a lot of my own family. Because at the end, when my grandfather was older, the grandkids adored their grandfather. His children rallied around him. No one actually knew what he had done. So it's not surprising to me that the kids have moved on, and forgiveness is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not I'm not saying you can't forgive people, but what you should not do is sweep it under the rug. Let me say that again. What you should not do is sweep it under the rug, because there's too many other people that are still in this cult, that are still in Jehovah Witness families, that are suffering because people aren't talking about what they need to talk about. Abuse is valid whether you have two witnesses or not. And the Jehovah Witnesses who keep changing their Bible to uphold their teaching, that doesn't make sense. If all you